Welcome, in front of me is a Samsung Galaxy Tab S11, and today I will show you how you can go through the setup process of this device. So, to get started, we're gonna click on the only option that we have right here, and then from the list of languages you want to find your desired language. I'll be choosing English. Moving on, we can then select our region. In any case, I recommend changing to or selecting one that is in the European Union, as this, if I'm correct, gets you the same legal treatment as we have right here, which means it's good. So as an example, if I am correct, which I haven't had the chance to test it out yet because I don't think it's in effect yet, but at the moment Samsung is going to finally comply and decide that paying fines is not worth it, with the forced opening of their ecosystem to other third-party stores instead of just being reliant on App Store. Then they will only apply this kind of openness to European Union, that is basically beating them into submission with this, with fines, but not anyone else who doesn't have this law and it's not fining them. Therefore, US will still have their nicely locked iPhones, but not EU. So by selecting EU, hopefully that would force them to apply the same kind of treatment that I would have right here, and you can use any third-party other stores other than the Play Store or App Store from Apple in this case, like I was giving an example. So select anything that is in a European Union, and for some reason we need to restore the device. And you can see we're now, after the reset, we're back on in the setup. Next page. So here we have the user license agreement, which we only need to agree to. You can also tap on an arrow and read what you are exactly agreeing to. Let's be honest, not a single person, I think, reads this. So I'm just gonna select next. I also want to point out that by selecting next, you haven't actually agreed to anything, technically. I just want to point that out. It's not really legally binding if you say next, not agree, but who knows? I'm not a lawyer. Next, we have easy setup with another device. Now this will mean that on my phone, oops, let's try that again because it just disappeared. And go back. Next, you get this. So you can see it pops up with the easy setup for the tablet, so it would get all the data that is on here, at least the ones that can be stored on the cloud, and then move it to this device. So you can utilize that. For Samsung specifically, there is a better option than utilizing this crap, which is the Samsung, I think, Smart Switch. I think that's how it's called. I'll look it up at the end of the video, as it is pre-installed on every Samsung device. But other than that, this is one of the ways you can copy up some data. We can select setup manually, and I believe there is going to be another one which will be using the Google account. It'll show up as well. But in any case, here we have right now the option to connect to our network. This is optional and we can skip this. Now I want to point out something. Samsung started lying about this, and yeah, this is misinformation at best, and malicious lie at best. So set up or skip Wi-Fi setup, and they're telling us that without Wi-Fi we can't connect to the internet. Well, no shit. No, not connecting to internet means we won't have internet. Please tell me more. Now it's written here like it's not gonna show up again. That's just bullshit. And in general, this just so pointless. Next, we have install software updates. Okay, fair. This is okay. The next thing, not so much. Use devices protection features. What the shit are you smoking, Samsung, to bullshit your way so hard? And just to prove that, you can go. Now, I also want to point out, because this is showing up right here, what it's supposed to say, like every other Android does, which is that date and time won't be set automatically, which they decided not to mention at all. because it's much easier to push their shit and try to gather data rather than give you the actual legitimate information that they're supposed to have, like every Android does. So date and time is one, signing into Google account is another, and having access to a Google login page while you're going to the setup also, I should add, and restore apps and data as to require internet connection from the cloud, obviously. Now, Samsung decided to mention none of those and actually give you lies. So I'm gonna ignore the date and time, doesn't really matter. Protect your tablet. Whoa, I thought I can't do that. But you know what, benefit of the doubt. Maybe they won't let me set it up. I already know that they will. Wow, would you look at that? It's now protected. I thought that I can't from your bullshit message. So, like I said, it's genuinely a lie right there by a company that is trying to just have you sign into network for no reason other than just spying on you straight from the get-go. Now, another thing here, we have now services from Google, which kind of tie in with the other thing. So we have location, scanning, and sending user and diagnostic data. Now we can turn those off, but let's not kid ourselves. This is Google, and we already know that Google doesn't really care too much about these toggles. You might not want them to know your location or gather your data. They're just gonna take it as you asking them and ignore it. They're just gonna tell you that they're not doing it. It's like your girlfriend telling you that that she didn't cheat until you actually find out and prove it. But in any case, so if these toggles actually did something, corporations like Google wouldn't be in class action lawsuits, antitrust lawsuits, and so on. So take this with a grain of salt. Additionally, people wouldn't be found when they're carrying their devices that don't even have a SIM card in it while they're breaking the law if these toggles actually did something. I want to just kind of point that out. So moving on and ignoring this because it doesn't have any impact, we are now presented with Samsung Trash, which is specifically the auto blocker. This is something that Samsung implemented, at least at this moment, as far as I can tell, and what it does is try to protect their user. Now, what it does is blocks apps from unverified sources, blocks commands by USB cable, blocks malware images in messaging apps, and blocks non-official software updates. Now, I have never had almost any of these be a problem. And I want to point that out. I am a person that just kind of goes on the web and downloads anything that I deem that I'm specifically looking for, even if it looks like a shady thing. So I never, number one, received malware images through messaging apps. I don't know what messaging apps you're using. Get non-official software updates. You go to the settings for software updates. Where do people download software updates to have this as a problem? Get commands by USB cable. Now this is something that I actually used. Through ADB, you get commands, which you can do yourself, obviously, which usually you do that yourself unless someone is trying to do that for you, like I guess this option tries to prevent you. But personally, I have been the only person that ever tried to use ADB commands on my phone to do certain things that are hidden away from Android, from the settings. So this was a useful feature, which this option blocks. Another one that I use even more often is the unverified applications, basically. So any kind of APK that you can download from the web, with this option you cannot install it. And typically you couldn't do that anyways because you had an option that kind of blocked you from it, but you would get a pop-up letting you quickly turn it off. Here you actually need to go into the settings and turn this trash manually in the settings. So you first need to find it in there. I recommend actually just getting rid of this right away. And additionally, while you can, load your device with whatever applications you can. For instance, something bands, which will be very useful to you later on, as you will lose the ability to install that later on, and I'm going to talk about it in a second. So load up any kind of application that is third party, that isn't supported by Google at all, that you want to have in the future, as Google, sorry. because Google is going to roll out in 2026 a basically iOS restrictions. So you no longer will be able to install any kind of APK that you can find as long as it's not created or signed off by a developer, and the developer obviously needs to pay a subscription or just kind of like some fee to be considered a developer or a reputable developer. We don't know much yet, but we know it's coming in 2026. So it's Google's way of trying to combat, as they're saying, they're trying to combat basically malicious malware applications. What it actually means, because no one is falling for their shit, is that they're sick and tired of having people use whatever they want on their devices, ad blockers and all that crap, and they're just locking down the system so they can easily get rid of this, because they just won't let people develop applications that people just won't be able to install them anymore. So that's just their way of not protecting you, it's to protect them. And truth be told, once you have a device that doesn't allow you to install this, you might as well use an iPhone. At least iPhone is going to be forced to open up their store because they're literally a monopoly, and European Union is now forcing them to do so. Google is not sure what are they smoking to do this, but just know you want to use this as long as you can. And possibly another good thing that you could do to combat this is disable automatic updates. So your device doesn't update to the next Android and doesn't automatically have this garbage loaded up, so you can still install applications even after it rolls out. Hopefully, like I said, it's not out yet. It will be in 2026, so we still have several months to go at least. And if at least this Android version, which is I believe 15, won't have it at all, then you might as well stay on it and not update it and have more open system. Now, anyway, moving on. Hopefully you got some information out of that, as it is, without consider, a very important thing to talk about. Now, moving on, we have the choose your display mode, aka theme. We have light and dark mode. Choose whichever one you want. Please wait. Okay. And we're all set up. So we can select home, and there we go. The device is now set up. So if you found this very helpful, the rant itself and any information that I had provided useful, smash that like and subscribe. And thanks for watching.